Hello, I'm Oliver Colling, and this is the My 70's TV Childhood Christmas Quiz.
Ho, ho, ho!
Hello, and welcome to a very special edition of our 70's TV Trivia Quiz, based on the My 70's TV Childhood podcast. A podcast which celebrates what it was like to grow up in 1970s Britain, and the big part that television played in our lives back then. This is our pre-Christmas quiz, designed to keep you and your nearest and dearest entertained over the holiday period. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to go all sort of American on you. But this is a quiz with a difference as well, in that all of our questions today have been provided by you, our listeners. Thank you to all of you who sent in questions, and I do apologise if your question or questions haven't made it onto our final list. We really appreciate the time that everybody has taken in putting your 70s TV posters together. So today we have 30 questions over 6 rounds, including some Christmas-themed posters, and each correct answer is worth a point. And what do points make? Yes, of course they do, prizes, but we don't have a prize on offer today other than bragging rights. And what better prize is there than outsmarting your other half or your friends? So, without further ado, why don't we get on to our questions? Grab a pen and paper and your favourite beverage. In a not very festive move, I have a large cup of tea with me. Although, as viewers on YouTube can see, I am wearing a rather festive Christmas jumper. There we go. Okay, are you ready? Well, let's move on to round 1. Which is a round called Relatively Speaking. And in this round, provided by long-time listener Russell, we are asking questions about TV relatives. Question 1. Which stalwart comedy actress played Sandra's mum in The Liverbirds? Question 2. Who played Thelma's dad in Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads? Question 3. Which actress starred in Porridge as Fletcher's daughter? And question 4, with a link with Porridge. Which actor went on to bigger things, having played Fletcher's son in the sequel to Porridge, Going Straight? So who was Fletcher's son in Going Straight? And question 5. Who played Reggie Perrin's wife in The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin? How is that for starters? I hope you got some of those, because round 2 is coming up fast. And this is a round called Sci-Fi Corner, which I guess should be self-explanatory, and thanks to Mark F for providing the questions for this round. Question 1. In Thunderbirds, which of the Tracy brothers was voiced by Parker and Brain's voice artist, David Graham? Question 2. In the John Pertwee era of Doctor Who, the exiled Doctor served as scientific advisor to the military group UNIT. What in the original series, it's been changed for the new 21st century revival, did the letters UNIT stand for? UNIT. Question 3. Staying with UNIT, which was led by Brigadier Alistair Gordon Lethbridge Stewart, excellently played by Nicholas Courtney. But what was the name of the captain and sergeant who most regularly served under him? Question 4. Who was the only character to appear in every episode of Blake 7? And I'll give you a clue, it wasn't Blake. And question 5. Which 2 actors connect Doctor Who and Rainbow? Well, I hope you're doing okay, but I have to say it's not been very Christmassy so far, has it? That is about to change, with a round provided by Lee, another long-time supporter of our podcast. And this is a round all about Christmas sitcoms. Question 1. In the 1977 episode of The Good Life, set at Christmas, what presents did the Ledbetters buy for the goods? Question 2. In the 1974 Some Mothers Do Have 'Em Christmas special, which role in a nativity play did Frank Spencer have, which led to him being stuck on the church roof? Question 3. Also in 1974 was the Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads Christmas edition. In that, what vehicle, much to Thelma's horror, did Terry use to drive Bob home when he lost his car keys down a drain during a drunken night out? And question 4. In 1975, the first Porridge Christmas special hit our screens. What food item did Fletch receive whilst in the infirmary, which the prison doctor normally kept for himself? And question 5. 1975 also saw the Rising Damp Christmas episode. And what was special about the solitary, poorly written Christmas card that Rigsby received? So we're halfway through our festive challenge already, which means that next up is round 4. And this is our regular TV Times round where any sort of trivia goes, and questions for this round have been supplied by Russell. Question 1. Mike Upchat was a character in 2 ITV sitcoms, The Upchat Line and The Upchat Connection, but he was played by 2 different actors. Who were the 2 actors? And I need them both to get the point. Question 2. Who played Raffles in the TV series of the same name? And question 3. In the ITV comedy Gets 'Em In, what was the name of the RAF station where the airmen were based in the first 2 series? Question 4. Maintaining the military theme, who was senior officer at Pippin Fort? And question 5. The BBC series Secret War was presented by which Top Gear presenter? A few tricky ones there, I think, which brings us neatly on to round 5. And round 5 comes from Ed, a regular listener, who says in his email that as we always go on about Morecambe Wise at this time of year, do we really, Ed? I suppose we do. It would be good to have a round featuring their Christmas shows. And this round is called Special Guess, and it is very simple, but I think quite tricky too. I will give you the names of guest stars from a particular Morecambe Wise Christmas show, and you need to tell me which year had those guests. I think this may cause a bit of carnage out there because it may not be as straightforward a job as it seems, particularly if you remember that some stars appeared on more than one Christmas show. Well, let's see how you get on. Okay, for question 1, the guest list for this year, which is probably one of the most famous Morecambe Wise Christmas shows, included Shirley Bassey, Glenda Jackson, Andre Previn, Los Zafiros, Dick Emery and Francis Matthews. Okay, Christmas show number 2. The guest list included Elton John, John Thor, Dennis Waterman, Kate O'Mara, the Nolans and Angela Rippon. All right. Morecambe Wise Christmas show number 3. The guest list included Peter Cushing, William Franklin, Nina, Eric Porter, Edward Woodward and Kenny Ball and his Jazzmen. And show number 4. The guest list for this year included Diana Rigg, Des O'Connor, Gordon Jackson, Robin Day, Brenda Arno and Pan's People. That's a very 70s guest list, isn't it? And finally, show number 5 for Morecambe Wise at Christmas. The guest list included Penelope Keith, Elton John, Angarad Rees, Francis Matthews, Michael Parkinson, Michael Aspel, Richard Baker, Frank Moff, Kenneth Kendall, Eddie Waring, James Hunt, and, again, Angela Rippon. Not as easy as it sounds. But what that does mean is we're now on to our final round, which is called the Singles Bar. And no, we're not branching out into providing some kind of dating service, but we include a few of the many single questions provided by listeners in response to our request for questions. And thanks to Mark G, Gillian, Andrew, Kath and Brian for these. Question 1. What show would you have seen John Pertwee in 1973 and Tom Baker in 1975 that wasn't Doctor Who? Interesting. Question 2. Which comedy series featured the item Confuse a Cat? Question 3. How many Christmas shows under the title Carry On Christmas did the Carry On team produce? So how many editions of Carry On Christmas were there? Question 4. Christmas 1975 found Queen top of the charts on the Christmas Day edition of Top of the Pops. But who was at number 2? And our final question, staying with Top of the Pops, who presented Christmas Day Top of the Pops in 1977? And that's that. 30 questions done and dusted. Hope you're doing okay. So how about the answers? Let's begin with our relatively speaking round. Which stalwart comedy actress played Sandra's mum in The Liverbirds? And that was Molly Sugden. Question 2, who played Thelma's dad in Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads? And that was Bill Owen. Question 3, which actress was in Porridge starring as Fletcher's daughter? And that was Patricia Brake. And question 4, in the sequel to Porridge, Going Straight, who was the actor that played Fletcher's son before going on to bigger things? And that was Nicholas Lyndhurst. And question 5, who played Reggie Perrin's wife in The Fall and Rise of Reginald Perrin? And that was Pauline Yates. Round 2, our sci-fi corner. In Thunderbirds, which of the Tracy brothers was voiced by Parker and Brain's voice artist David Graham? That was Gordon. Question 2, in the John Pertwee era of Doctor Who, the exiled Doctor worked for the military group UNIT, UNIT. What did UNIT stand for? And it stood for the United Nations Intelligence Task Force. And question 3, staying with UNIT, what were the names of the captain and sergeant who most regularly served under Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart and became characters in their own right in the show, we should have added? And that was Captain Yates, played by Richard Franklin, and Sergeant Benton, who's played by John Levine. And question 4, who was the only character to appear in every episode of Blake 7? And it wasn't Blake. Well, the answer was the cowardly thief Villa, played by Michael Keating. And question 5, which 2 actors connect Doctor Who and Rainbow? Well, 2 actors are Roy Skelton, who voiced Zippy and George, who also voiced Daleks in Doctor Who, and K9's original voice, John Leeson, who was originally the scary Bungle in Rainbow, if you all remember that. I think that might give me nightmares this evening. All right, on to round 3, Christmas sitcoms. In the 1977 Good Life Christmas episode, what present do the Ledbetters buy the goods? And they bought them a cow, if you remember. And in 1974, Some Mothers Do Have a Christmas Special. Which role in the nativity play did Frank Spencer have, which led him to being stuck on the church roof? He was playing the Angel of the Lord. And question 3, in 1974, in Whatever Happened to the Likely Lads Christmas edition, what vehicle did Terry use to drive Bob home? That was a forklift truck. And question 4, in the 1975 Porridge Christmas special, what food did Fletch receive whilst in the infirmary that the prison doctor normally kept for themselves? It was a Christmas cake. And question 5, what was special about the solitary, poorly written Christmas card that Rigsby received in the 1975 Rising Damp Christmas episode? Well, it's a bit of a sad answer. Rigsby had written it and sent it to himself. On to round 4, our TV Times round. Mike Upchat was a character in 2 ITV sitcoms, The Upchat Line and The Upchat Connection. Which 2 actors played him? Well, that was John Alderton and Robin Nedwell. So I need both the points, but you can have a half if you get one of them right. Question 2, who played Raffles in the series of the same name? And that was Anthony Valentine. Question 3, in the ITV comedy series Gets 'Em In, what was the name of the RAF station that they were based in the first 2 series? It's RAF Skelton. And question 4, who was the senior officer at Pippin Fort? And that was Captain Snort. And question 5, the BBC series Secret War was presented by which Top Gear presenter? It was presented by William Woolard. Alright, on to our Christmas challenge for special guests. This is quite a fiendish one, I think. So, guess this one. Shirley Bassey, Glenda Jackson, Andre Previn, Los Zafiros, Dick Emery and Francis Matthews. That was the famous 1971 Christmas show from Morecambe Wise, featuring the Andre Previn sketch, which I love. And guest list 2. Elton John, John Thor, Dennis Waterman, Kate O'Mara, the Nolans and Angela Rippon joined Eric and Ernie for the 1976 Christmas show. Christmas show number 3, which featured Peter Cushing, William Franklin, Nina, Eric Porter, Edward Woodward and Kenny Ball and his Jazzmen. That was the 1970 Morecambe Wise Christmas show. And number 4, guest list 4, Diana Rigg, Des O'Connor, Gordon Jackson, Robin Day, Brenda Arno and Pan's People joined the boys for their Christmas show in 1975. And finally, guest list 5, Penelope Keith, Elton John, Angahad Reese, Francis Matthews, Michael Parkinson, Michael Aspel, Richard Baker, Frank Boff, Kenneth Kendall, Eddie Waring, James Hunt and Angela Rippon joined Morecambe Wise for their Christmas special in 1977. And I think that long list of newsreaders at the time probably helps give that one away a bit. Alright, on to our final round, Singles Bar. What show would you have seen John Pertwee in 1973 and Tom Baker in 1975 that wasn't Doctor Who? That was bank holiday favourite Disney Time. Question 2, which comedy series featured the item Confuse a Cat? Well, for those of you who remember, that was Monty Python's Flying Circus. And question 3, how many Christmas shows under the title Carry On Christmas did the Carry On team produce? Well, there were 4 of them. 1969, 1970, 1972 and 1973. And question 4. Christmas Day 1975 found Queen top of the charts on Christmas Day. What was number 2? And number 2 was Greg Lake with I Believe in Father Christmas. Although it only just got to number 2 because before then was The Trail of the Lonesome Pine with Laurel and Hardy, which ended Christmas Day at number 3. And question 5, who presented Christmas Day Top of the Pops in 1977? Well, you could have guessed from any number of 70s DJs, but the 2 that made the cut for 1977 were Noel Edmonds and David Kid Jensen. So how did you do? Are you feeling like Jimmy Stewart shouting with Christmas joy at the end of It's a Wonderful Life? Or do you feel a bit more like Hans Gruber in Die Hard as he's plunging off the Nakatomi Plaza? And by the way, Die Hard very much is a Christmas movie. Whichever. I do hope you've enjoyed our Christmas quiz. We will be back next week with our regular podcast, which may well also have a festive theme, and then again in a fortnight with our next quiz. Until then, can I and all the elves here at My 70's TV Childhood Towers wish you and all you love a very happy Christmas. Have a great time, and look forward to you joining us soon for more from My 70's TV Childhood and the My 70's TV Childhood Quiz.